aphrodisiacs. I can't say anything of substance about the one for whom the wind takes dictation on the river's pages. It seems to me that each of us is given the same test again and again till we pass or pass on. Meanwhile, the one whispers the answers, shouts them, plants them as grass, seeds them in the looks of perjured enemies and sworn friends. The way we love each other, perpendicular, the way an endless space of sky hits a mountain and can't go on. Over there, that man, the scientist, preaches doom, yet tends his garden, calls each flower he. Do you suffer delusions of the absence of grandeur? My voice is sore. Please come closer. Beauty. You can come to it in rags, drunk, stinking of cologne, from a house full of roaches and termites, boxes and machines, from emotions that are physical torture. You can come to it crazy. You can lose a bet, almost die, risk your life for a laugh and still find it. You might arrive at it with a face full of acne, with a meal you cooked for distinguished guests and ruined with too much salt, with grief for the joy you rushed through. It'll take you, with your conscience at capacity or empty as the vacuums nature abhors. Too long I thought I had to be beautiful, to belong among the things I love most. Leaves glistering as if giggling at a joke told by sunlight. Water's delicate skin. Yellow daylilies, whose color is the only positive thought I need. Come then, with your unpardonable deeds and thoughts, stupid mistakes, falling stocks and hopes. Come with your wasted life. The beauty isn't for you. It doesn't care. Welcome, come on in. Come on in. Grounded wind. Couldn't we just whirl a while like grounded wind? Didn't you just find poetry again? Someone is planting grass. A physicist has published an image of magnetic fields, and from what I can tell, someone has left fingerprints all over the stars and intervals of darkness. You know, the thorns in my soul point inward, as if I were some kind of confused rose, that I bloom the way a zealot distributes pamphlets in the streets. You have just had your watch fixed. It tells the time in all the countries where we wish we lived. You are hot with desperation from this ravishing predicament. You ask everything of me, and I rise to the depths. Between. Magazine ink tattooing my body in this heat. I've whiled away today, seeing and feeling things. A sunburn from your touch. You, coming out of cryogenic slumber, pointing out a petal, a squirrel. I feel like the space between your hands. Years ago, I felt myself a comma between independent clauses, wrong, not belonging, and when I said, there's really no point to any of this, is there? I was told, you've discovered existentialism! You don't want it either. The office and its desk with the sacrificial cactus to absorb radiation from machines. You want the space between winters and the winters themselves. Okay, before I go any further with all this, has any of me? Okay, you guys gotta check this out. I want to write to the Reverend. For some reason, I keep reading the Ask the Reverend column of the local paper for laughs, yet also for a sense of the preciousness of faith. The Reverend's advice never mentions God. Okay, it's just common sense response to sex and dating questions. I could have told those men those things myself. I love that the Reverend has no knowable name. I am half mocking prankster, half walking genuflection. What would I ask anyway? Reverend, could you please trace the atoms in my body back to their origins? Can you give me a map of myself? Reverend, if the moon were rounder than usual, would that be enough to interrupt a man who plans to commit suicide by eating apple seeds one at a time, lest some change of soul arrest him? Reverend, who produced the bloodstain in the second-hand volume of poetry I can't put down? Come on. Welcome! The one that's here. Describing what a watershed is to a class of 10-year-olds. How snow melts and carries our filth to the lake. There's something stained glass about the landscape's face. My vision littered with silver. Forgive me, divinity, for the ways I've inveighed against winter, a sign that the earth still works. It can be like this, and I stand corrected in the glitter, in the spawn of cold and clouds too heavy for themselves. I could pray to any god, but you're the one that's here, so please. My whole life has been a palinode. Feel my awareness of joy. Redwood Elegy. Silent professor of endurance, how many baby birds have leapt from your limbs to find flight or be food? How many future atheists have been baptized since you were a seed? The passage of an hour, did it feel the same for you as for this poet standing in the chapel of your trunk, which the wildfire ravaged open? And what about memory? The young trees around you, how will they go on? Someone is telling me a story about men who cut into one of your colleagues. People flock to the state just to drive through a tree. I don't understand any of it. To straighten out my own soul will take all the time I have. Welcome, come on in! Interested arsonist. Yes, I'm warming my face in the flames of hell. That's what I've got. My Russian ancestors had a giant dog in their bed. That was their defense against winter. If you're interested, arsonist, in doing your work in me, you can sign up for a slot between 8:10 and 8:15. That's what's left. All other hours are taken with leaf litter. All other minutes reserved for eyes that rest on the desk of my disquiet like a multiple choice test. I would like to tell most people that Klimt painted women nude before adding raiment to appease the prudes. That my husband dreams of sleeplessness. That the iconoclast comes once a week to clean our house. And I'm aroused by the mess that results, and by the ease with which our saints break. So I'll tell you, just bring your extinguisher, lest something arrive first to usurp your place. A headline about a war, a hard line I can't interpret. breakups. Up next, the man with the guitar on Church Street declaring, "I don't think man will ever make it to the moon." Up next, a woman who likens the host to recycled sewer water. After intermission, an ordinary frog, then me shouting, "Who can remove the prosthetic soul and give you back your own?" I was once on a Ferris wheel they wouldn't let me off of. So I carry on in my circumstellar way, inviting you into my attention. You, most sacred anyone. Natural disasters. I love natural disasters, the second grader says, grabbing book after book off the shelves, reciting everything he knows about Hurricanes Katrina, Irene, and Sandy, none of which he could have been alive for. When Sandy hit, I was 18 in the cruelest of idols, where we ran around barefoot and many got Lyme disease. I was lucky. The storm was a mere pinch of wind and rain and a boy riding his bike with no shirt on. Anticlimax, the sensation of poetry, petrichor in the scent of rotting apples, yearning that stabbed in 1,000 directions like any old light that happened to strike diamond. Nothing between impulse and action, even less between our bodies and the air. Between each then and each now, the heart gets remodeled. It's May and lilacs are half awake and my heart is lilac soft. I'm phobic of so much as lightning and thunder, yet keep exclaiming, "Wow, that's so cool!" as my new friend points out photo after photo of tornadoes, having hardly said a word all day, now talking up a storm. And all around the world, people are thinking, does this qualify as victory or struggle? Weighing their humble experience against history's dramas, they shake their heads. No, mine isn't really a life. Vindication of time. The lifespan of a snowman, one day old, bowing with grief, or prayer, or arthritis of the hip. Time, dressed up as a wasp, leading the cells of our bodies in a tribal dance. A retired engineer, each day, all winter, reports to his wife precisely how much more light there is. Well done, Charlie Cooner. Don't blame time. Time is just following orders like a low-ranking soldier commanded to sing opera on the battlefield. And you know how it's done, but not what it is you must do. You ransack your heart like a closet for the tenderness you know you put there. Sublunary. Night provides no closure. Tenebrous one, look up again. Why it is we always see the same face of the moon, though it spins. Tonight it rises like faith, like pitch in a stress-timed language. Maimed by our gravity and its own absent oceans, Moonrock itself stretches out of its body toward us. That's the answer. I'm a fanatic of the religion of you, and night provides no closure. Has done. The wind has done what the dandelions wanted, torn them into snow. For a summer so thin I see through it. The pilgrimage I made to you, how long it took, and yet the sun was still a jellyfish then, and those moments of clairaudient silence continue to teach me faith. Sometimes I think joy chooses me because the rent is too high in everyone else, and the joy you give me weighs so much, it curves the time around us. Again, a long drink from your potable ocean. I knew this would happen. I came equipped with this thirst. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm not Mike, so yeah? Okay. If you can just yell at me if you can't hear. Okay. Yes. I am the one who chases peace the way photographers hound down tornadoes, who strips for the wind in the name of exposure therapy, who eats spicy peppers to purge her sins, who has a second home in a place where none of this matters, whose neighbors complain that the place is a wreck. Do not send me your sharp knives in a honey jar. I am not thirsty. My life is sweet enough. Whatever you mail will end up unopened at the return address engraved on the top left corner of you. Please understand, I have started a garden in the place where none of this matters. I have planted lavender and need it to grow. Pocket dial. Hello? Who is this? I don't know, but I make a lot of squash. Listen, I know I called you, but can I put you on a brief hold? Thank you for holding. As for who I am, I don't know, but I'm sitting here in a $100 sweater, and I think I'm in charge. Why don't you come over tonight? We could obsess over mundane details, yours or mine. If you knew how trite my thoughts are, you'd understand this rabid hunt for poetry. We can get behind the abandoned Jehovah's Witness stand on Church Street and preach with the tenacity of squirrels clinging to things, apple cores and trash. You'll invite me into the green black holes of your eyes, and when I come out as radiation, we'll do Sudoku, while legislators debate what time the sun should rise. And while the sun is rising, I'm still sailing the sunken ship of the self I've been given. That's who I am. I'm gonna have a sip of water.
Cheers.
Cheers! Hi, him. Another. Relax into the terror of our tenuousness. Why not? With its billowing sorrows and cold, hard happinesses, its lack of donation centers for excess passion, its mathematicians performing calculations with quantities no one can picture, its young men whose faces are advertisements for events that have come and gone. The future is what we call tomorrow, and a billion years later, isn't that kind of absurd? Live another day. Take out your eyes. Photograph the invisible from yet another angle. Optimism Squad. Long suppressed laughter, birds complete this piece of their journey in your view. Below freezing and still there's rain, such clunky punctuation for the day. You praise the good Lord for stenches now that you can finally smell again. Skunks, garbage, sewage, marijuana. The same criminal is president. The same chemicals infect the only holy ground. Don't slam the door when when the optimism squad shows up, and it's me in a bad mood, offering you some arrangement of sentences, what's left of a cup of tea. RSVP. Yes, I would like to be there. Though my schedule looks clear for that day, I have involuntary membership in a number of clubs, such as Middle of the Night Insomniacs, Sinners Seeking Redemption Who Don't Look the Part, and Crusaders Against the Fallacy of Thought-Action Fusion Desperate to Believe What They're Preaching. Meetings aren't scheduled in advance, so we'll see. Even if I happen to be free, there's still the chance that I'll be arrested by the flexuous limbs of trees and people who are so beautiful that I must be too. And of course, it's equally possible that on the day in question, I'll decide few things are as moronic as people who come together in groups. I could cite several examples from history off the top of my head. Then again, it might be sweet. It could be okay. I'll make every effort. I desire you. While I'm on my knees before God again, while one woman lets another out of her mind as if the latter were a trapped spider, while it dawns on a man that in the next life, his soul will be combined with the soul of the person he most detests, while an army of children with toy guns runs up the stairs to the cloisters, while a unicorn bleeds in a tapestry, while a woman bleeds out one more possibility, while murals are painted in tunnels and feats of gymnastics are carved into Carrara marble, while Jesus hangs nonchalantly from some crosses, while caresses are given in a garden where fig plants envision their first fruits, while a wish is made in a fountain with a foreign coin, while the life of a dying daffodil flashes before its eyes. The only thing I can really draw is ruins, you say. The eros of erosion. While a virus resembles the death of a massive star, I desire you. From the third rung of the vortex of pleasure, from its everywhere center. While a street vendor squeezes oranges with a machine to make us juice. While we're brittle as the moon's bones, soft as petal flesh. While our dreams use our likenesses like stupid deepfakes, and you can't sleep because I can't. Touch me. While the sun spreads like a compass its aureate light. While trees perform CPR on us. By now, I mean while nothing and no one can opt out of this sweetness, this complete inconvenience. So we're gonna take a 10-minute intermission so you can avail yourself of some delicious beverages. And then we're gonna enjoy.
I'd ask you to take it just to save you from being
Of course.
It's not as bad when you play with fiddlers, then they're fiddling here, and you get like, I've been some gigs where I get like,
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I never like poking the eye.
Mid-October.
I feel like I'm protected.
So hot. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is not right. This is really strong.
The voice of buoyancy. Look, someone's gotta be the voice of buoyancy, and it's not going to be that irascible man with the cantaloupe, I can tell already. So as the ambassador to insensible heights appointed against her volition, allow me to volunteer. Let us turn our attention, if you please, away from the fungus that sucks the juices out of live worms. Further still from the way we feel we have no say in the laws of even human government. Sometimes our opinion is valued. Last summer, a man in northern Italy who sold me a local stone made me get on the phone and convince his son not to move to New Jersey. We offer what we have, every life a kind of yard sale. Nothing withheld from the table. What isn't taken ends up in a landfill somewhere. War doesn't make any more sense than it used to. I know what revenge is, a 6-year-old with a very deep voice once said to me. It's when you give someone something cold, like ice cream. Daylight dreams. It could only have been a chocolate croissant, what that squirrel was eating. We were craving pastries too, my Algerian friend and I. So we took the number 2 bus to the Williston line, got off at the wrong stop, and ended up on a major thoroughfare with no sidewalk in sight. These drivers have never seen a pedestrian in their life, I shouted, dragging C through the mud. We trespassed over gas lines and the lawns of American homeowners I prayed weren't also gun owners. I'm sorry about this country. She said, we have an expression for this in Arabic. When something doesn't seem real, daylight dreams. After crossing 2 lanes of heavy traffic with no crosswalk, we arrived and ordered our sweets. I told the woman at the register, and you can just give me the coffee. I can't sleep anyway. Can't ask. Dripping with pine cones and performing their colors, trees know I dream in that language. I feel I've come early to some sort of shindig with platters of fruit on fire. A man told me in Iran, when guests show up at your door, you can't ask how long they'll be there, even if years go by. I've been in the business of catering lavish dinner parties for anorexics, for mouthless moths, for Jews on Yom Kippur. I don't know how long I'll be here, nor how long the world is for this world. Let me be married to autumn for the length of autumn. If Icarus had lived to testify. Fresh September, I have arranged the chaos alphabetically, readied my heart for the plummet of light. I have a taste for illusion, swollen moon low in the night, the glimmering parameters of my life. If Icarus had lived to testify, I'd have believed. The sun descended to him, hounded him into the sea. In his absence, it shadows me. September, you struggle to offload the burden of summer, and with it, all my hopes. By the word. I'm late for my optimism shift. And reader, I'm sure you have a midnight dental appointment or something to prepare for. Last night, I dreamt of attempting to throw a strawberry over a fence into a stern man's dream. I was a bad whore. I charged by the word. And those men's hearts, well adapted to herds of desire, had been much overgrazed. And the men were busy, and so was I, describing orange that plays at redness, red bursting into purple, a graveyard seen from a sailboat on a lake still clean enough to swim in. Though the cold has come, why else would I go on about autumn's savage chromatics? And on the subject of things that split open, bivalves, I halved and filled with goat cheese to serve with honey and challah for Rosh Hashanah. Another year and I haven't shut up. You should charge me by the word. Immediately following mandatory happy hour with the boss, I said to the driver, deliver me to the nearest beautiful thing. My name is not man. Where clouds rallied together like workers, I said, let me out here. Palm trees dusted the sky, no rain. I called another taxi. I said, take me to a larch, a church. The awe in the word autumn. Take me to dusk, to a Sikh temple where I can meet the genderless God. The casino, behind the curtain, where we pray our children will fix the world before we are reborn. In these arcuate confines, two strangers are about to pass each other, each deciding separately whether to smile or speak or stare straight ahead. There's something else. I thought I wrote it in my notebook, but it isn't there. Maybe an eastern screech owl sleeps in a tree's wound. Or a jerk becomes obsessed by thoughts of sex with a piano tuner. Or a man buys a gun so no one can say he's done nothing with his life. Or a smell is perceived by one animal, missed by another. Or death is fled by creatures who don't know what it is, or even that it's coming, only that it's bad to be chased. Or heaven and hell are invented because someone can't stand that we all go to the same place, whether we're milkweed or chicken or Richmond. Or a lover enters another like a deep breath the lungs seem to have infinite space for. Or in the deep sea light shrinks from, evolution makes a fish bioluminescent. Or a despot washes his face. Or a thought pursues a woman like a swarm of bees. Or maybe it's something so tragic the poet won't write it down. Or maybe it's something beyond her. The fastest way out of one endlessness into another. When the brick is missing from the convent wall, when the tears have outlasted the face, when two lizards are fighting for territory on a wooden statue of the Buddha, when the cup of life has no rim or stem, when you've let the mint leaves rot in the heat, when you're dreaming of passion fruit and lose your anger, gently, unintentionally, the way the sun takes the water from your hair before you know it's gone. When an apple tree sapling appears on your lawn, when you think, thank God, finally, a minute alone, and the fragrance of jasmine like a love-struck stranger comes at you from behind. In the first place, you told me not to worry, though the clothes fell on the floor in the aperture between washer and dryer. You assured me they'll get clean again from the dryer's heat. A deeper problem. Why bother with the washer in the first place? The tabloid read, Leonardo DiCaprio's 19-year-old girlfriend, who is 49, had no idea who he was when they started dating. Okay, I've been teaching checking relative clauses for years, and let me tell you, I've never seen anything like this. Except you. That first time, the ultimatum, it's now or forever. The Book of Life. We understand the world made by kisses, or things like kisses, happenings. Carla Ravelli. Whatever happens to the wind by the river is happening now. The heart's usual slog interrupted and made crazy. It took me all night to write a text message agreeing to meet you, and there was a bird working up the courage to take a female to the museum of his plumage. The you of you, the me of me. When the Book of Life was stolen, opened, they found no names, only deeds. No one to be punished or praised, no one to do the punishing or praising. In that absence, I met you in the park. Service. Can I get some service over here? Take this back. I won't drink this. My bra is broken and the wire's poking me. I'd like to pay my karmic check and close this tab. Tell the management that I never ordered this. That I feel like a branch budding through barbed wire outside the military museum. Please say, she couldn't hear you over the blooming of the azaleas when you gave her the standard greeting. Her soul's been under siege from day one with a revolt so violent, it takes all her courage to speak these lines. Don't just stand there! Get me an exorcist! Don't let me end up like those who hoard their spirits as if they had any shelf life, as if they were resigned to a fate poorly translated from a language no one has heard of, as if they were terrified that others might truly be happy. I'll cut through your pretensions like a red pen. I'll write you the worst review you've ever seen and have it tattooed to the most attractive parts of my body. I'm not leaving till you heal me. Mysteries. Outshined by its reflection in a necklace, the sun punishes us with its absence. The water is depthless with fog. It hovers like the unspoken. Spiders begging to be women again. Hades placing a basket of grain in his bed when Persephone has gone. The grain doesn't want him either. I am not convinced. The cold feels nothing when it swarms my face, that the afternoon night sees nothing when it forces its way in, that the gods aren't high on prayer, that they won't mourn me when I'm not here to do their grieving. Nearer part. First line of defense and last resort, prayer, wanders lost. Among drought-stricken roots, starving hawks, lust-ridden fish, show me how to make a better life. The plea for a fixed TV mixed in with a collective exhortation. Make the earth healthy. They're cutting out her organs and peddling them like cones of roasted chestnuts. And there's nothing I can do but bestow trivial kindness on that which I can touch. And a tree that tried to touch the ground it loves begs to be righted. Why is it that when I, alone in a room, speak my desperation, I feel heard? The future comes down to slow negotiations between men who won't live to see, and I rise to my knees before the nearer part of God. Sighting. God's trying to sneak away. I accost him on this. We're going to try this one again. Ha ha. Sighting. God's still trying to sneak away. I accost him on the street saying, "Thank you for my life." He nods, thinking, "Oh, brother, every spring with this woman." She assumes just because bloodroot spreads the smile of its blooms that I see her. And just because of magnolias and other people and the forsythia everyone knew would be spilled like music, that I exist, treating evidence as proof, acting as if joy were the point of life, when it's only one point. Even the cairn at the peak looks up to something, the sky, and even that looks up, to where up ceases to have meaning. Your body over mine, final and taut, sharp with stars. The way sunflower shoots twist with the sun all day, before fixing themselves on the east, I imputed you-ness to whatever I could, until you became for me dawn, dusk, the farthest reaches of trees, the doubts we share about the terms of this life, moons that tried to form around planets but settled for being rings, the arrow on a vein that splits the wind and tells where it came from, the seriousness of the firmament. We slipped into this desire as beads are added to a necklace. Close my eyes and spin me a few billion years, I fly toward you. Split clean. You don't have to do this, says the earth, whom we hold at gunpoint. Don't I make you happy anymore? The monarch is drawn to the milkweed's purple, I to the monarch's orange, and the pandiculation of grasses, and the way wildflowers worship, not through prostration, but assertion of their height. Forget this strident hiding behind the visible. I know how difficult it is to have a body that looks like something. Can I just be what I am? A tree in full leaf split clean down the spine, a slide of light on a spider's thread. This set of appendages, traveling miles by train to see stars. Customer support. All right. You asked to speak to the most adamant person in the building, and now you've got me. This call will be recorded for quality assurance. The quality of your silence may also be assessed. Feel free to interrupt at any time. What gets me is the way two lovers wearing masks smush their faces together and it passes for a kiss. And the inaudible language in which our ancestors offer advice. Also, The psychic who predicted that her client would buy a Jeep, and then the client did, and cited this as proof of clairvoyance. And even though my mystical convictions have been weathered by my knowledge of madness, I sense the way Hermes and Iris ferry messages between us and gods, like veins, phloem, synapses, wind. Would you please hold for a brief survey? In honey on pavement. No. From now on, I will write poems in honey on pavement, outside the offices of the best journals, so the editors will have to step in them before they reject them. And insects, if no one else, will taste the way it felt when I went metempsychotic from the orange in your early autumn eyes, my love, and the golden folds of the ginkgo leaves, and the purple maple. This too must be inscribed. The lady who writes me routine messages, ending all her sentences with semicolons. The humility of that. I'm afraid some scientist really might try uploading his mind to a computer. Then what? Don't you feel we're lost in the library of tyrants' dreams? Not trapped, just lost? Is there a botanical term for that? Or one for the way history is hitchhiking in your bones? For the way I want to bend it down, a better future, like a bow for you. One, two, three, 1, 2. 1. I want to go to the fanciest French restaurant, order the tallest bridge they have so I can sit there for 10 minutes, maybe finally learn chess from someone sitting at the board as if time were air, and then walk home, heavy as spring snow. 2. Inevitable conclusion, I chose you because you dissolve me. My desire is the size of your voice and the shape of your knees. Whoever the architect of my heart was, closed off all roads that don't lead deeper into your name. And the way, when you touch me, I feel the inside of my chest, as if there were a moon in there. I feel the inside of my body. 3. God has no interest in Isaacs or rams. Zeus has no use for charred sheep. God wants the fear I keep trying to surrender, then sneaking back to the altar for. 1. Refusing to think the usual thoughts, I call a random number and say, when the woman answers, I've just always wanted to dial these digits. When she hangs up, the dial tone sounds like the rain's hesitations. 2. Inevitable conclusion, I knew you when I saw you. I was 22, working so hard to convince you I was serious. Rub against me till I'm no longer this sharp thing. I have opened myself in this indelible way, praying for this fear to be stolen. you all so much. Mowgli plays in a number of bands, of local bands, Saturday,
It's true.
and
There's a
salsa.
list.
So
There's a whole
he
list.
plays frequently in town,
Yeah.
and you should check out his.
Yeah. Yeah, my name's Mowgli, and I play bass, other stuff, and I sing. I have a band called Saturday that I write all the music for, and the words, and play bass and sing in that. And then I play in a whole litany of other projects. So, I send you to Saturday because that's what I care about.
Yeah. So it's such an honor and a privilege to perform with Mowgli and to be in your company. And I'm so moved that you all came out tonight to share this moment with us and to be with us as we practice our spiritual respiration. And we're so grateful.
Thank you.